Here from the BCMC show and bring this up so we can see Matt and myself. There we go. God, we're two good looking guys on here, aren't we?
It was my glasses on, make sure. No, hell no. Who are those guys?
Hey, welcome to Materials Exchange, the MX Network, live here from the BCMC floor with Matt Lehman. Matt, thanks for this first time we've done this live together.
Yeah.
This is great.
That's pretty cool.
Dinner the other night. This is like getting to be a regular
I'm going
thing.
to move to Chicago.
I'm enjoying it. So as you know, please ask us any questions from the BCMC show. Put it up in the little bleep blooper in the right here. I hope Nick from Chicago is here. Maybe he'll say he's from here, and we can get that stream rolling.
Nick from Hawaii.
Nick from Hawaii, or Nick was from Hong Kong last week,
Oh, yeah,
right?
Hong Kong, yeah.
Yeah, from Hong Kong. We'll get that up. There we go. We have to get Matt to the Chicago office. Right on. Sounds great. So let's talk a little bit about the BCMC. So we were at the Framing Summit, you and I.
Yep.
BCMC, pretty good turnout.
I think they're pleased given the still the restrictions with COVID. That you can tell people are a little bit apprehensive. Some people won't shake your hand, but at least they're out milling around better than it's done for the last 2 years.
Well, the tiki bar I was at last night, that everybody was sucking drinks out of the same bowl with like 7 straws. I mean, I don't know how.
Is that tequila rim shot that the anti-COVID dose?
Exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we heard. I mean, we've gone to a lot of speakers. We hear a lot of stuff on the floor. Kind of some reverberating things that we're hearing. So first of all, business is great, right?
Absolutely. I've never seen order files for truss plants. These guys say the same thing. Some of these guys are out 9 months. It looks to me like the very same things happening in the market right now that happened in the spring when the builders told the retail lumber dealers to whatever you do, don't run out of wood at any price. And now they're doing the same thing to the truss guys, saying, just make sure I want this trusses built. Doesn't matter what the price is, and they're booking them out 9 months. And
yeah,
we're setting ourselves up for a same cycle or same situation we had in spring.
So talking to a couple of people about that, truss manufacturers, etc., they're actually have to tell some of their sales guys to back off. So 2 things: one,
right, yeah,
quit selling too far out, and because we're full, and jobs that are supposed to ship here that get moved because of what issues we'll talk about in a second, but now you got to flex over to another job.
Yeah.
So we were sitting here talking about what we wanted to talk about. One of the big things that we keep hearing is labor.
Top issue. Everybody's talking about they could not only finding qualified people, but keeping the people that they get. I was talking to a guy yesterday from Seattle, and he says every time he gets a framing crew trained, Boeing hires him away for something else. And it's not even the same industry. They're just going other places. It's just such a shortage of labor everywhere.
Simple stuff like that. I learned from some of the framers the other day how there's a Minneapolis, a Des Moines, a Missouri market, and they have all different tiers of rates, and these guys float in between. All of a sudden, your framing crew is gone because they're getting some money somewhere else.
Yeah, and I was thinking it would take $2, $3, $4 to leave, but these guys are saying for 50 cents you lose a whole framing crew.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that these guys deal with that me sitting somewhere doesn't think about all the time. Why these shows are great to go to, because you kind of get around and hear stuff. I see Chris is on here. Chris was great. Matt and I both met Chris.
Yep.
Yeah, from Wisconsin.
Chris has got to be around the corner somewhere.
Yeah, he probably is hanging out here somewhere. Maybe he'll stop by here. So labor, yeah, crazy. One thing that Tim Symes said the other day, I said it on the show the other day. A lot of people are going back to Mexico because it's actually a decent economy, lower cost of living down there. So now you got pull the other direction on some labor, and then you have some people that just don't want to work still.
That's interesting you would say that, because when I was leaving from Charlotte to come out here, I was absolutely stunned at probably 50% of the people on the airplane were people headed back to Mexico.
Yeah.
Just like families leaving, groups of workers of 4 or 5 guys.
Something you wouldn't think about, right?
No, it's just like I thought. Is it like visa time, or is a mass exodus or something going to happen here? But
another one somebody was telling us the other day. It's easier to start an LLC in the United States than it is to get a labor permit.
Oh, gee.
So think about how hard it is. You're tapped at the labor pool. Now you're trying to get new people into it and keep them there and keep them happy and run crews and keep shifts going. So it's crazy. Again, Matt and I are live streaming from the BCMC show. This is Lunch with Lumbermen. Ask us any questions up in the top right. Joe B. We're Rochester, Minnesota. Glad to have you on. Please mention where you're from. Let's talk a little bit about the inventory situation, because what we heard in these meetings from people that normally don't buy inventory, they have inventory places.
Yeah,
right.
They've not only got their yard full, but they've got reloads, warehouses, barnyards, all kinds of places. I heard a great analogy the other day. One of the guys here said that through September the market's been like an empty bucket that was filled up, and now that we've reached the end of September, that the bucket's full. And what's going to happen is as people draw down a little bit for a job, they're just going to keep topping off the bucket. We're not going to see another surge of that inventory building or filling up the bucket, just topping it off. So that should equate into slower sales for the mills through at least through October anyway.
Well, you wouldn't hear that from today from what they're saying, right? But one of the things that Greg Riley said the other day, and I maybe you know this, fourth quarter is usually the highest production quarter. Is that true?
I thought the fourth quarter was kind of a.
I don't know what to check on that one. I'm not sure if it is or not.
Probably running it. I'm not sure. It depends on what you're talking about, but I know it's the fourth quarter is a very large. What I've learned in the last probably month is from how large the consumption is along the first two states across the Canadian border. The rush over September and October to get wood to get houses framed is it's phenomenal. They slam it to get it done, to get it dried in before the snow flies and gets cold. So for a lot of guys, October, November up this way, it's their best months of the year.
That's true. I have one thing, we drove by some DCs on the way out here, so I know historically driving by some what their traditional inventory is. Some the DCs I drove by have a lot of wood in them, and I guess the price is telling us that to some people.
I've got there are guys here that have pictures of their inventory on their phone, and they'll say, like, "Here's what I've got," and they scroll. And I go, those duplicate pictures, they know they were all each 100-foot sheds, and they're all full.
So that inventory is switched from the production closer to the end use. A lot of it's spoken for, right? Because one of the things we have a lot of people asking us for is on the platform. They love the transparency. They're still looking to they want to buy jobs that they have sold and put it on the ground somewhere, and they still want to do that.
Yeah, and some people want to buy jobs that they just intend to do and put the wood on the ground. It's turned into, instead of just-in-time buying, it's all just-in-case buying. They've got the wood they've got sold plus some extra inventory on the ground. But the difference between right now where we are in this market right now today than we were in February last year is the market is loaded. The inventory is loaded everywhere. Last year we were trying to build it and fill it. We're starting from a full pot right now already.
I guess the secondary market is pretty long right now. Obviously,
judging by the way they're talking,
people are a product of their position.
They're bullish for air. Prices are going up, and it's going to be volatile. And today's the day to buy.
And it's a new normal. There's a new normal now. Prices are never going down. New normal. I hear that again. It's different this time. Here's the deal: it's like the Weather Channel 20 years ago, right? 2 inches of a snowstorm. You went out and you did your business. Now all of a sudden everything is an urgency. In a 2-inch snowstorm, you got to go clear the shelves off, and it's different. Close the schools, and there's more people with the ability now to buy bigger positions.
Fewer letterheads.
Fewer letterheads. So let's talk a little bit about order files. You were touching on that a little bit. What are you hearing on order files? I know pine. I had a bunch of people on the platform today looking for 4-inch pine is tough to find right now.
2x4s or 4x4s?
2x4s.
Well, and I think that's a function of these truss guys, because these guys are all more and more people are using southern pine for trusses because there's the MSR just isn't available in spruce like it was. It's just harder and harder to find it. I've seen more people looking this year for MSR than ever before. It just seems like some of the structures just require more MSR, but they don't want DSS or MS or number one. They want this machine stress rated.
Could that be a function of the plate situation?
Could be.
Look at these guys are saying they're having a hard time still getting plates, or plates are on allocation, or this guy got it down in the southeast and we didn't get it up here, and we're mad about that. I didn't realize how tough plates were to get.
Yeah, it's actually plates just that are for second stories.
Okay.
Section. They get the first floor done, but the structure requires heavier plates for the second
Right.
second floor, so they're getting half of the house sprayed and then they're done until they can catch up.
So let's talk one thing about what you and I were talking about here, um, buying and selling. We'll be right there. We're just
You got to get on. Let's come around here.
no worries. We're good.
Come around here. Let's introduce you.
We're good. Come on over, Sean. We're live on this Lunch with Lumbermen right now. Say hello.
Oh, yeah. Hello. Welcome to BCMC.
Hey, tell us a little bit about the show and how it's going right now.
Do you know at the show yesterday we had 200 people just walk up?
This is improv now.
This is improv?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. That's what we're all about.
You had 200 just walking on.
Just walk in.
That's amazing. How many total signups how many total signups did you have?
I mean, that takes us close to 800.
Wow.
800.
Yeah.
It's a great event. What should people do that aren't here? Why should they be here?
I mean, this is the only place if you want to be involved, I mean, heavily in the framing industry.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the labor side or it's the material side or it's the design side. This is the place where it all comes together.
Yeah, it's awesome. The networking has been great. The people here have been great. The flow through the booths have been great. Everybody that's here wants to do business and talk and network. It's great.
Yeah,
I mean, these people can't see it, but I gave you guys the primo spot.
Oh
right
my
in front
God!
of
So
Yeah,
we
this
were,
is a great
we were
spot.
wondering how that happened, but we're really excited about that. Like people trip over us walking in. Yeah, it's great. It's great. We like that. We like to be transparent like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. Real good. Like everybody that's not here should be here. Go on to the BCMC site, take a look at it, see what other events are coming up. One thing you and I talked about, buying and selling. We have people coming up here saying, we talked about how we were going to talk about this. They really have just a few people. When I ask them, how do you get your pricing right now? It's like, I know one guy that's been taking care of us for a while. I'm like, but where do you go to look at just your pricing when you want to discover price and see what it is to go to that person? And
You have to make up an inquiry. You act like you're going to buy something to get a price.
Yeah, and I've had all kinds of people asking about your report and where's Matt at and all that, and it's a real good reason why people should sign up for Layman's Lumber Guy, because it really helps kind of give you a foothold of information of where the market may be and why people should be on Materials Exchange, mxlumber.com to look at pricing before you actually have to do anything. Hey, we're all about transparency here. So with that said, let's pull up the 2x4 composite on Matt's report and take a look at that and kind of walk through it. So Matt, we got a little hitch moving up here on the
Yeah,
2x4.
it's last week was the FTP week where we expected a peak. So this week, I'm looking forward, just based on that chart, to see the momentum at the mills start to slow a little bit and orders pulling back. The guys here are not talking about looking for lumber. They're talking about, can you give me some insight about what's supply going to be like? Are we going to be $1,500 again next year? And are these Southern Pine Mills going to come on board like they said they were going to? But I don't see any reason right now to expect to see any big surge in buying, other than just topping off that bucket and keeping inventories high to go into the year. That's going to be at some point we got to deal with the fact that we're still building and buying for 1.7 million homes, and we're completing 1.3 million. So just the numbers, even the trust guys know it too, that they're so far stretched out that it's not sustainable.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, especially just in this Omaha market, talking to these guys. They're like, hey, this big home builder just came into this market. They're not even building anything yet, but they're looking at stuff. So they're getting asked to get pressed out really far into the order file when they're already busy and struggling to get certain things, which, like I said, you have great business. And with great business comes, things that you have to fight through all the time.
One of the things here that I noticed about the shows, there's a lot of really cool equipment. There's a robotics company that will make you a cup of coffee. The robot costs $150,000 to make a cup of coffee. If you want to outfit your complete truss plan, it's like $50 million.
I do that for my wife in the morning, and I don't charge her $150,000.
You should get $150 anyway. Peck on the cheek. Go get him, boy.
150. Oh, Judy. So it's so easy. Oh, thanks, Judy. It's so easy to register with MX. And you're good to shop every day. It's really worth those few minutes. Thanks, Judy. This is awesome. And speaking of that, we've had all kinds of people come up and register over the last 2 days, which is great. We're going to get a lot of people on, and they say all the same thing. They see us, and they're like, we didn't. I think I posted something on LinkedIn. They all say the same thing. They sit here like this, and they're like, you guys are onto something here. Like, wow, this industry is really going to benefit from this, which is cool. We think so. We think so also. Nick, let's bring up that Southern Pine chart because that's kind of the tale of two cities, right? 4-inch you can't find, 6-inch is still available.
Yeah, if you could look at the price spread between 4-inch and 6-inch, it's like what, $575 to $395. So there's a couple of $100 spread between the two.
That's 575 to 395. That is what the spread is.
Yeah, like $200.
That's insane. So the 4-inch is basically just pulling that up, just kind of pulling it along slowly, right?
Well, and the treaters are in a little bit too, but the mills are also coming off of a period where they're used to raising prices $50 and $100 a week. So get a little firmness in the market, and they're jacking up $20, which probably only got $5 worth of waterfowl to back it up with, but based on some kind of historical relative term. But prices, I think prices are outrunning the volumes that mills are selling, as it's kind of a standard rule of thumb. You get out after the first 2 weeks. Mills don't try to sell about 30-40% of that week's order file. So if a mill's telling you he's 4 weeks out, that doesn't necessarily mean it's 4 weeks order file. It's 4 weeks shipment, and that's allowing for delayed shipments. And
you brought up a great thing here that just made me remember something. I was talking to one of the big Pacific Northwest mills here I'm a friend with, and sometimes they get, so you got both ends of the chain. You're sitting in a meeting, and a lot of these guys that buy that don't know anybody at the end of the mill, they think it's the mills that are making these prices go up. And this guy at the mill said, hey, look it,
all I'm doing is answering the phone.
A mill wants to produce the lumber and get it out of their yard. He goes, when it's at $1,000 a thousand, I want to sell it as far as I can keep it going, right?
Yeah, there was a guy, I heard it from the guy from the mill manager that was here this week, and heard it last year during the whole pandemic, said, if you think mills are waiting on a better price than increase in production, we were selling balls to the wall when it was $500.
Yes.
So they've been going wide open for a long time.
Yep, they want to get, they like these numbers, but they're not holding anything back. They want to keep it moving.
Right.
Now that
mills aren't hoarding wood.
That wood may go into secondary markets where they, capture it, put it on reload, or just put it as TBA, and that sometimes they get in front of that, and then you got to buy it from them to get it going. Let's go up to the next chart, Nick. Let's see what the next one is. Let's go to. Should we go look at OSB?
Sure.
Let's take a look at OSB, Nick.
It's going to look like nothing.
It's going to look flat, isn't it? Now, one of the things interesting about the OSB chart is, so the thin panels had come down, bounced a little bit. The thick panels,
still carried about a $200
premium.
Still carrying
a premium, right?
Yeah.
And again, I think there's people that have built a pretty decent inventory of that and are building it again, right? Although I've seen a lot of it coming back up on plywood and OSB trading on the platform, right?
Yeah, what we don't know either is like next year, who's gonna hold the extra cookie next year? Like Home Depot this year they were pretty much the secondary supplier for OSB for the entire country through the summer. But
it's funny, I didn't think about that, and how many people around here told me they went to the boxes and their customers went to the boxes, and they were saying, hey, I knew a guy there that wanted to get their sales hit, and they can, even though they're showing they were only selling, they were buying one way or another, and they had people come into their yards when they were low, trying to buy OSB from them. And they monitored that, right?
OSB was getting triple wholesale to a retailer.
It was, but that's what happens when you have one of the biggest consumers pricing off of an index, going and putting it in where they have, people put in pickup trucks or minivans. I was going to say station wagons, but I don't think people have station wagons anymore, do they?
Not the Woodies.
Yeah, it's not the LTD with the drop-down, fold-out seats in the back anymore. So that's an interesting dynamic. We'll see how that goes. Let's bring up the framing composite, because I heard a lot of people asking you about the framing composite and how useful that is for them.
Yeah, I got some great ideas. The guys my framing composite is a combination of Western SPF, Southern Pine 2x4s, and OSB. And a couple of guys had some good inquiries or questions. Said, could you make that framing composite more specific to the Pacific Northwest using like fir plywood or OSB that's made in the western zone?
Yeah,
Doug fir larch, or in fir spruce studs or Doug fir.
Basically, you customize an index for them so they can go to their builders and say, here's the index.
Yeah,
which is great because all of a sudden you've just created something for them they didn't have before.
Yeah, that's without exception is how everything that evolves through my publication. Somebody says, "Can you do this?"
Yeah.
What do you think this is available? And it's not that difficult. It's just going to take up more space setting it up, and it's something else to look at. But if it's helpful, we'll do it.
You may need some bodyguards around here. You had a lot of people coming up to you asking you for an autograph and stuff like that. You're a popular guy around here.
I was autographing some business cards and back with some business cards yesterday, and I said, "This is stupid."
That's great. That's great. Let's go to. I want to take a look at the transportation one quick, because one thing I've heard about trucking is it's darn near impossible to get a lot of stuff moved.
It's drivers, man. There's just not enough drivers. There's trucks are sitting around with, guys are telling me they got just drivers. They just want a driver with a cab to come hook up to something they've got parked on their lot. They don't even have to have a trailer anymore.
Greg had a good point the other day. He said his customers are calling him saying, "Hey, we're used to these certain drivers coming in. We're seeing different companies coming in now." And Greg was like, "Yeah, because when the rates are different, you get different drivers, right? And the rates are like going like this on certain hauls, right?
Where the guys are dressed better than the other guys."
Yeah, I mean, he said they don't wear flip flops, but nonetheless, they're different.
Yeah, they don't have grease under their fingernails.
They're not going and picking up that steel haul for $4,000 when the lumber haul is $4,000. It was $2,000 a month ago, right? So you get your freight is always available. You just got to pay for it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you got to be somewhere where the guy's empty. So much of it's luck of the draw. Like where did somebody drop?
Exactly.
If you're in a market where there's not a lot of outbound transportation for truckers, then it's going to be hard to get somebody to come in here.
And that whole freight price discovery is about as clear as pea soup too. They talk about how digital they are, but yet again, it's a broker talking to a broker talking to a broker that's got on this great big trading floor talking to all these other brokers, and they're like, "Hey, come use our technology," and you go into it, and you still have to talk to somebody.
Yeah, and everybody here's it's interesting. The price range I've heard anywhere from $3 to $3.50 a mile is kind of a bottom number, but $5 a mile is kind of a going rate for everybody's used to paying $5 a mile or more if they have to. So that's going to be interesting.
We'll show a little bit about our booth here. Here's we got a bunch of people out here. Here's Ryan. We're doing a putting contest at the MX booth. Pretty fun. So Matt, what's the rest of your day like here?
Passing out cards, looking for lumber buyers.
Yep, right on. Let me get our technology up and running here. So we're going to be over at the MX Lumber booth number 811, and we're going to be registering people, bringing transparency to them. So Matt, I appreciate you showing up here live. It's great doing it live with you. And again, stop by our booth, sign up on Matt's. How do we get a hold? What should they go to?
Laymansguide.com. You got to take it for 2 months for free. That's the only way you can get it.
Laymansguide.com. And the one interesting thing we're hearing on Materials Exchange when people are here, they're like, "How much does it cost to sign up? And what do you charge a month?" And when I say nothing, they look at me like I'm crazy, right? They're like, "Well, how do you do that?" It's like, we don't. You get on, you look at pricing. We want to give you transparency so you can have a number that we want you to use, but you can also lean on other people that are maybe have been your good old buddy for the last 20 years. You could stay buddies with them, but test them and make sure they're giving you the good price, right?
Yeah, I wanted to throw it. So we talked about something. This might be, tell me if I'm getting ahead of myself, but we talked about the idea of having a coaching session for buyers.
Yes, I
think it'd be a good time to poll these guys, ask you guys, would you be interested in a coaching session just to make you feel more comfortable with giving the push, like, yeah, that's a good number, that's a good thing for you to buy, go ahead and make an offer. And
people, we kind of go through and show people what's listed and get some feedback and talk about it.
Somebody say, I'm interested in that 104 5/8 2x6.
Yeah,
how does that number stack up? And
some people are timid getting on and actually using it. They're like, "Hey, I logged in and looked at it, but I'm afraid I may buy something I don't want to." Right? So
it's kind of scary knowing if you just push a button and you just spend $100,000.
They think they're jumping into the abyss, right? And I'm like, it's not like that. You're not going to do anything like that at all. And I think that I like that. I think you're onto something with more training and education, right?
Yes. If you guys would be interested in participating in that, it was probably going to be a room of 20 or 25 people or something like that. But if you'd be interested in participating, let us know.
Well, again, everybody, this is Matt Lehman, Ashley Buckle from the MX Lumber Channel and Lunch with Lumbermen. I hope you had a great time coming. We really love our users. And no, I don't look like Dave Letterman or Kelsey Grammer, even though some people told me that yesterday. But I guess that's a compliment.
I don't think that is a compliment.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I didn't feel like it was.
Maybe from 40 years ago. But
I got to grow a big
Letterman
beard,
today.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, everybody, we're signing off from the show. We'll be at the booth until the end of the day today. Come see Matt and I. Matt will be kind of walking around, but you're over at
3:15.
He's at 3:15.
About 2 though.
All right, real good, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for coming.